We just spoke about combining branches and loops, and now we're going to talk about arrays, lists, and collections in C#.
So I'm going to switch back to where we were before. We were just working on our branches and loops. So click on arrays and lists. And we're going to go through this basic list example. Now they're telling me to make a new application, but because I know now what Hello World looks like, I can just delete that one and keep reusing my same application.
Definitely.
Okay, and I'm going to take just the code inside of the main here and put that over here, and let's take a look at what's going on.
Yeah, it should give you, there's a little error.
Yeah, this is interesting. So we're saying var, which I've never seen before, and then new list. So there's actually two things that are going on here. Why don't we fix that one, and then you can explain this one here.
Sure. Yeah, errors always get the priority.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, if you see a little light bulb popping up in the margin, there it is. Why don't we go ahead and expand that? So this is recognizing that this type, right now it's a collection of a generic type, isn't imported. So remember, we were talking about using statements being namespaces that you could use the types of in your program.
Right.
This is just warning you, hey, you need a system.collections.generic import statement at the top of your file.
Okay, so if I didn't have using system, it would complain that console wasn't there because it's system.console.
Yeah, you get a similar error.
And list is a system.collections.generic.list. So I can just go like that.
Yeah.
And look, it put that in there for me. It typed that for me. And this now doesn't squiggle.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. Okay, cool.
So those little light bulbs are often really great hints for if anything's going wrong, should be able to help out.
Right, there's lots of light bulbs. Another light bulb that's popping up here is we're saying for each, which we haven't learned about yet. But there's a light bulb there that's saying you should be explicit. You should be very specific instead of saying var or var. What is var doing here?
So var, I am a pretty big fan of var. Var is what you put when you do not know what this variable is going to be.
Nor do you care.
Yeah, nor do you care. So you can just start typing, and so it's great. So if I did var, do you want to create a var, var int var I equals 0?
So we've been doing this. We've been making ints all this time, right?
Yeah.
So if I go var I equals 0, and I go I dot, I'm getting inty things.
Yeah. So if you hover over I as well, I think it'll actually indicate that this is an integer.
It is.
So this is just our compiler automatically inferring that because you have a 0 on the other side, they're just saying, I'm going to guess this is going to be an integer.
Yeah, but if I go and say Scott, and I hover over it, it immediately knew that it was a string. And if I say I dot, look, trim end, those are our stringy things.
Yeah.
So var is cool if it's like, I don't really know, I don't really mind. So I could say, and this is where it gets really useful, list of string called names. But now I've said list string twice, and it's kind of giving me a headache, and it's just faster to type var.
Yeah.
And you might
It's
find
shorter, too.
that people might not like that because it's a style thing, isn't it?
It is definitely a code style thing. So this is also something you can configure in Visual Studio to prefer var when the explicit type, that being the list of string, is apparent, meaning it's just obvious what this type is. We don't need further explanation.
Yep.
And use explicit type in all of their cases. And that's what it's set to now. So if we look at the var, the squiggle under the var in the for each loop, it's saying that, hey, it isn't super obvious what this is.
That is a good point.
It
It
should
is
be-
obvious here. It's
Right.
kind of not obvious there.
Right. Just in the for loop. There we go. Just in the for each loop, we now have a string.
Okay. So here we're saying, with our list of names,
Yeah, definitely personalize
definitely
this list.
personalized,
Much better
very,
now.
very important. So we're saying for each of those names in names. And this is very common, this singular and plural. That's not required. I could call names foo, and I could say for each name in foo, but it's kind of nice to say for each name in names,
Yeah.
for each product in products.
So names is my list, and when I'm going through my for each loop, I'm choosing one item in that list and storing it in that name variable. So we had iterators and indexes in our last examples, or like
Right.
counters, and those would naturally increment every time the loop executed. With for each loops, it'll just grab the next item in that list. So it's a good way of transforming anything in a list.
That's a good question, actually, that I'm having in my mind here. Let me ask you this. Would it be okay if I did this? Could I do this?
Names, length. Yeah, I think I see where you're going.
Right, and then I could take this console.WriteLine, and could I say name I?
We want to use
But
names.
I see I can't. I got to go names I, right?
Right. So
That got a lot more complicated. I get it, but it's not as nice to read as that, is it?
right. So you're using the I index to tell the for loop, or to tell names which item in the list you're grabbing. So it could be the first or second, third, whatever.
So we're digging out the 0th, the first, and the second, but that is a little harder to read.
Definitely.
I just want to go through the list. I mean, I can do that, but isn't it nicer to do it the other way? But the nice part is that we can do it either way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So let's switch back over here. We can go, and actually, we should see if it works. Let's do it both ways, because who knows?
Oh, yeah.
It did work. So this is really important to point out, because it not only worked,
All
but it in
caps.
fact worked both ways.
Yes.
So it is showing you that they're kind of the same, but you want to use the one that makes you happy and the one that means what you want it to mean. So that's a good reminder.
Definitely. Another sort of just style thing. One of the things that's really fun about programming languages, it is very much like writing style, just how certain authors have different writing styles when they use English or when they're writing different books. C# is very dynamic and kind of personalized.
Yep, that is a great point. So let's remove all of that, and we'll just start with our list of names. And one of the things that we can do is we can say names.add. We can add our friends to that list of names. I'm going to say names dot. These are all the things that a name can do. We can add and it can remove. Okay, and then I can say names.remove, and let's remove me, because I've left. And then we can go and do that for each again, for each name in names. And then we'll say console.WriteLine. And let's just go and print out, we'll just print out the name again. Is that cool?
Yeah.
And then again, I can decide if I want to make that a string or just a var. Totally up to me. I'll leave it as a var and see if it works.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So you've been able to actually remove and add items to the list of string. What is list of string? What is that syntax?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? That is called generics. So if you're out there searching the internet and you're finding out what's going on, you read that as a list of string. And list, they say, can be of any type. And they usually say it can be of any type T. I can have a list of ints, or a list of string, or a list of pants. So this is actually a programming joke that you taught me. You can have a cup of tea.
Because it's a cup of type T. Okay, yeah.
That's your first programming joke in C#. If you like that, then you should be a programmer. There's a lot of nerd humor available in the programming industry. So definitely just casually drink your cup of tea and see if anyone else notices. And I think you'll be a winner. Yeah, and then just at the end here to point out the indexing part that we did, I can say names, and I can put it into a bracket there. We talked a little bit about brackets and arrays when we talked about args.
Right.
When you explain that, I could say, give me the 0th, or the first name. So let's do this. Console.WriteLine. Notice how I spelled those wrong, and it's going to squiggle on me, isn't it? It's got to be spelled right, and it's got to be uppercase and lowercase correct. So what is names at 1? It's not names of T, it's list of something, and it's names at 1. I would expect that would say Scott.
Yes. So that's another thing to call out.
It does not. Why not? Trick question. I removed myself.
Oh, you did remove yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I removed myself, and you are the first one now. So imagine we had name, which is just words, Scott, Kendra, Maria, Bill. We removed me. That shifted you up to the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
So now you're number 1 in the names list.
So speaking of the number 1 spot, what's in the 0th spot?
That is a weird spot. I'm actually going to change that, and we'll just say that that's weird. We'll have a spot that's called weird. It's the 0th spot, isn't it? It is this everything in an array is zero-based. Zero is the first place. I don't know why. It's always been that way.
It's kind of a big characteristic of programming languages, whether or not they're zero indexed or start at 1. So C# is 0.
Yep, and there are other languages that are 1 indexed, but you just remember that the first spot is the 0th, the second spot is the first, and you go from there and you'll be fine. And those are some of the errors that you'll find as you go and play with lists, is you might be off by 1. And that's okay, because you'll be able to write it and try again. All right, so that is a little bit of an understanding of lists and collections. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and talk about how to search them and sort them.